All right, it is now 4 o'clock Mountain Time, so we will go ahead and get started. For this, if you would like to have a second window open or another screen up and follow along with us, you are absolutely welcome to. So you can just go ahead to formative.com, hit that login button, and then log in with whatever method you use, either Google, Clever, Microsoft, or just by entering your email username and password. So a little bit about me. My name is Katie, and I am a client success manager here with Formative. I am a former teacher. I taught a pre-K collaborative class, kindergarten, special ed, and was an RTI specialist. I am a dog mom to 4 amazing rescues. I actually have 2 of them behind me right now, so if you hear any barking, I apologize in advance. I was born and raised in the New England area, but I have lived all over the place: New York, Florida, Texas, California, and I am now in Colorado. Some things to know as we get started today. This session is being recorded. We are scheduled for roughly 30 minutes. I'm going to try and save some time at the end for any questions. If you have any questions about something as we're going along, just go ahead and pop that right into the chat. So our focus today is on those beginner readers, struggling readers, emerging readers, and using that Formative to help them. So we're going to look at using audio and video responses, recording running records is informative, and creating pictures and word sorts. So let's go ahead and dive right in. And I'm going to switch over to my Formative dashboard. All right. So we know that one of the question types that we have are these audio responses and video responses. There are a ton of different ways that you can use these with Formative, but thinking especially about our early readers, those beginning readers, teaching reading, it's really important that you as a teacher are able to actually hear and see them read. It's really hard to teach reading if you can't hear them. And for those little kids, the beginners, you want to make sure that they're able to track that print. So using these features, the audio and the video, you can record the students reading so that way you have a record of it. And when they're completing assignments, you can actually hear them doing the reading and not worry about, okay, somebody read this to them and now I don't know how they're reading it. So the way this works, really simple. You just go ahead and click on that audio response or the video response if you chose to do that one. You can type in your question. So maybe it's just something simple like you want them to read the sentence, or you can add in some type of image. So if I go ahead, I'm going to upload a picture. Let's see, not this one right here. If I add this in and I want them to read the passage, they've got their passage right there, and they will be able to respond with an audio response. So if I go ahead over to this preview side, pop that out into another browser, what they will be able to see is that record audio response button. So they're taking their Formative, they know to answer this question, they hit the record audio response, that microphone will pop up and you will be able to listen to them read. Again, that can be used audio or a video. If you have a book that you are actually using with your students and you want a video of them actually reading that physical book, you can have them record a video of it where you can see them tracking that print and turning the pages left to right, all of those early reading skills that you need to observe and you want to have documentation of. Now, obviously, grading something like this, we don't really have the auto grade options of clicking just the correct answer, but you can add in a rubric. So if I'm thinking about a rubric for this, I can do level 1, maybe. So this is maybe fluency. And maybe lots of pauses, they were tripping over their words a lot, so that'd be a 1. And then I can build it out for level 2, level 3, etc. As well as accuracy, you could build out a level for accuracy. How many misspelled or misspoken words? How many times did they self-correct? Whatever you need to fill out your rubric. Hit that check mark. And now you have an easy way to grade that. Again, can be used audio or video. Another way to think about these responses, reading isn't just, can I read the words? There is far more to it than just being able to physically read the words on a page. Thinking about some of those question types that we like to use, having students retell a story, or what was the problem? Who are the main characters? Sometimes our younger students have a lot of trouble with putting their thoughts on paper or in words and typing out those responses. You know, those little ones, they're still learning how to write and spell. So throwing a keyboard at them where all these letters are not in ABC order is going to throw them off. But you still want to know if they understand the question, if they are able to answer the question. So you could do something where if you add in maybe you've added in a video of a story. So if I pull up the 3 little pigs. And I want them to listen to the story. And then I'm going to add some questions here at the end. And I'm going to add in an audio response. What was the problem? So now, instead of my students needing to type out a response, they can just record that answer. Now, I will be able to know as the teacher, did they understand the story? Are they able to tell me what a problem is without having to worry about the keyboard and typing being a barrier to that? Another great way that teachers keep track of their students' reading skills is by doing running records. Anyone who's done a running record knows that, yes, it gives you a lot of really helpful information in teaching reading and knowing where your students are, but it is also very time consuming and not the easiest thing to do if you are in a classroom with 20, 25 students and you're trying to listen to that one student, but you also have to pay attention to that group over there in the centers and this one over here in that center. And oh no, the students in the block center, they're having trouble sharing. So that process can drag out even longer. Now, going back over to our audio responses and our video responses, you can easily create a formative and add in your documents. So you can add in a book, all the pages from a book, if you just have a passage. So I'm going to upload from my computer. I've got a little reading passage here. I can add that in. If I have an entire formative dedicated to a certain reading level, maybe it's a level C or D, whatever, with multiple passages, I can assign that out to my students. Maybe I only want them to do one question at a time. If they can record themselves reading, so those are my directions, record yourself reading. Then after I get those responses in, I can go through and say, okay, listening carefully to that recording, I can see where the errors were. I can see where students were able to self-correct. I can take the time and analyze that without having to rush through or worry about, okay, we got to pause real quick, like, sorry to interrupt you, but we have to go deal with this emergency over here and I can't keep listening. It allows for that flexibility where you're still getting the information you need, but it's not taking up so much time in your day and interfering with your ability to manage the rest of your class. So again, you can have multiple formatives, maybe one for each level. As you assign it out, all right, this student, they did great, they're independent on level C, so the next one will be a level D. And then you'll be able to see too, a tracking on your tracker, your view responses page. When those responses come in, you'll be able to see where each student is on each level. That tracker page also does tell you when those responses were submitted. So I'm going to go over to my formative dashboard and pull up something with some responses so I can tell you what I'm talking about. So I have a look over here at my view responses page. If I look at this student right here, over in the side, fills it up, it tells me right here at the bottom when that student submitted it. So you have a way of keeping track of, okay, student A completed level C, they were independent on it, they can move on to level D, and they did this on Monday the 1st. So again, really an easy way for you to keep track of everything, including that recording of their reading. Now, again, thinking about those early readers, those struggling readers, word sorts and picture sorts are an amazing way to get those phonic lessons, those phonemic awareness lessons in. We could do that on Formative. So if I go ahead and pull up a categorized question, I can type in some different category labels. So maybe this one, I'll label my question as sort by word family. And my first category label will be, we'll have that be EN words. And then my second one can be EG words. And I'm going to add another category for ED words. And then we'll add one more category for some ET words. Then I type in my items. So let's start with pen. And then we'll add in bag, add in another draggable item, lead, and net. And that's just what we'll start with, just because I'm just showing you how it works. So you would drag these over to their appropriate section. If my drag button would work correctly. All right, and then here. And then what your students would see is they would see all the words that they need to sort on one side and the different categories that they could sort it in, and they would drag them into the appropriate columns. You can also do a type of word or picture sort using our drag and drop option. So if I pull up that drag and drop question, I'm going to add a drop area here. Oops. We're going to have this be beginning sounds. Over here, let's do words that begin with the B sound. And you type in your answers down here. So let's do bed and add in box. And I'm going to add in sled, because I don't want to give them only words that fit into that answer. So let's do dog. All right. And then you would drag those answers up there that are correct. And viewing that as a student. Let me hit refresh so it refreshes that view for you all. You would have your choices and they would be able to drag their correct answers. Yes, you can add pictures. That is a great question. So if you wanted to add in pictures, if I look over here at this categorize, see that plus sign? If I wanted to go in and search for an image, I can search for an image. And it'll show up right there with that word. And that is another thing. Anytime you see that blue plus mark there, that is where you can add in your own audio. So if your students, they're still learning how to read, they're still those early readers, you can add in an audio for you to explain those directions for them. You can also add in images or a video, whatever you need to go along with your words. The other thing I wanted to show you all is thinking about those enhancing that PDF docs image. If you go ahead and you upload something from your computer or Google Drive, whatever it may be. So I'm going to upload this document slowly but surely, it'll get there. Not only can I add in just overall directions, so if I click in right here, this is going to be an audio response, and I want them to read the passage. Can tag in my rubric, make it a required, tag it to standards, whatever I need to do. But then after they read that, I can go ahead in and add in those questions already in there. So if that's already a multiple choice question, it's already got the question written in there. So I'm just going to leave it. It only has 3 answer choices. I'm going to take away that fourth answer. Instead of retyping those questions, what I would do is I would add in audio and just have myself reading that question and each answer choice for those students. Makes it a lot easier for when you're trying to give assignments and you don't want to have to worry about printing, 20 copies of something and then inevitably with the younger students, oh, I erased too hard and now there's a hole, or somebody's absent, or something happened with the copies and now you have to rush and get some more copies made. Now you don't have to worry about that. You can also, if you notice up here, this one has those 3 stars. So it's supposed to be, you read it 3 times. You can make each of those stars an audio response asking your students to read that passage so you can see their fluency as they continue to practice reading it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pop back over to our slideshow. So we kind of finished up a little early today. You guys were a little quiet, but that's all right. If you are ever looking for additional resources, going up to that little question mark in your formative, you'll be able to find our help center, our community center, our training center, as well as feature requests. If for whatever reason, the question you're trying to get answered doesn't have an answer in the help center, you can contact our formative support. We have reps in that support chat from roughly 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and they are fantastic with getting back to everyone with questions. Our community center is brand new, so this is a great new place for you guys to check out. And mine, I believe, looks a little different than yours, but you'll be able to see all sorts of fun things in our community center, as well as our training center. This is where you'll find webinars, different courses, any events. Our community center will have an option for you to be a formative certified educator if you would like, as well as a formative champion. upcoming webinars, and then of course, all of our previous webinars. The other thing I'd like to remind you about is at the end of this training, you will be getting a survey emailed to you. You go ahead and complete that survey. At the end of the month, we will be emailing out certifications of completion. So those come at the end of the month, and you just have to make sure you complete the survey that goes out after our training. All right. Well, if you don't have any other questions, I will let you get back to enjoying your Friday Eve. Those of you who are going on spring break soon, I hope you have a wonderful spring break. And we will see you again at another training webinar, hopefully soon.